On this episode of RPT, we're swapping my rear axle.
Oh my god! And just rip that sucker right off. We're putting this 78 14 bolt corporate GM onto this 58 International, and that's the original axle from the International. It has obsolete brake drums, and this has drums that are on the shelf everywhere. So, and it also gives us better tire and rim options for 8 lug, whereas that is an obsolete bolt pattern that is 7 1/4, 6 lugs on a 7 1/4 pattern. It's totally obsolete. So this is the best way to make it modern and easily, not so much upgradable, but just to be able to keep it on the road. You might notice we were both wearing our new shop shirts. Okay, let's roll this back a little.
Are we gonna...
God. The brake drums are rusty.
This is my mic.
Okay. Get that jack down there.
You want to have the towel too? That didn't work, so it's out.
Okay, I'm going to jack this up. We're going to raise those stands. We've already taken out all the U-bolts.
Want me to just raise them by 2 notches?
Probably. This is going to lift the truck right off of that axle, because I already removed all the U-bolts. And we'll just be sitting here dangling on springs until we get that one underneath it. Then we need to adjust the pinion angle, put the spring perches on. When we're happy with that pinion angle, then we're going to weld the perches on.
And I gotta clean some of this up and paint it right now too. Okay, we're out. Put it back down. Careful. Yeah.
Out with the old.
We're gonna trade another guy named Marty for those. He's given me $40 and a new pair of mirrors. So those are going to be for Marty when he wants them. They're finally off the truck after several years after making that deal.
So the guy that put this together before us had everything all loose and crappy, and the bottom leaf spring actually spun out of position. So we're going to clean everything up, get this all centered back up and square again.
Everything that the guy did before us sucks. There's been nothing good. So we're gonna line this up tonight just so we can get it bolted together. We're not gonna roll the truck back out. We're gonna get these perches on here and get the U-bolts on. I cut notches into these pieces here just so the U-bolts will fit. This isn't final. We're gonna get new ones, but it turns out we didn't order any. So I'll have to pull it off eventually. We just want to make sure the angle's right and everything, so tomorrow or the next day I can come out here and actually tack those down, and then I'll take it all off again at some point.
Your pin might want to fall through there if it even fits.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't fit. That's bad.
No, it doesn't. No, this one doesn't fit either.
This one wanting to use the unibit quick to help out with that.
Use what?
Unibit that I don't want to use.
Already a problem. This pin on this one here should be in here, but it fell off when we took everything out. It just wasn't stuck down good. But it needs to fit in this middle hole, but it don't. So And Dad's grabbing something to solve situations, I guess. That one didn't fall out. That one's still in there. So there's always gotta be something, you know, always something. We had to cut these. This isn't final, like I said. These are the original ones on my truck, but they're for 1/2 inch, and we need 5/8. So the holes weren't big enough for these. For whatever reason, we never ordered the plates. I've had these sitting around for years, so they just didn't fit in the holes. We just need to be able to mount this together so that we can at least get those perches at the right angle, and then we're gonna give up tonight because it's getting late. I'll come out here and tack and weld them at some point and get that done.
We know the middle hole's gonna work because we put the axle where it's gonna be centered and we don't need any offsets or anything.
So you're only trying to go up to get that in there, right?
Yeah, but the taper on that bit requires that I do it from both sides.
Mm-hmm. Why didn't you want to use it?
Because it's a $70 bit.
Oh.
It doesn't go through all the way. So we could just get some Gorilla Tape on there to keep it centered.
For the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just tape this right now.
Okay. And then it'll fall through. Like I said, what we're doing right now is just temporary. We're just gonna rig it up. Oh, look at this. There's a little IH on here. Right, I don't know if you can see that right there.
Really?
Yeah, look at that. Look in the light. I'm pretty sure earlier Dad was saying he's not even sure if these are IH blocks, but I guess we know now. Because there's been so many things hacked up and replaced on my truck, we don't even know half the time. But these are factory. That's cool, I guess.
There, it'll stop the pin anyway.
Alright, nice.
I'm actually drinking pop right now.
The tape on here, let's see. Ah, just fine. It's right on the other side of this hole right here. I don't know if you can kind of see that in the light. Good for temporary. We'll have to put some JB welds in here, or maybe weld it back in. We think this is cast iron, so don't know if you can weld that with a MIG welder, but I'll probably try at the very least. Just see what happens. We just need to be able to make sure it gets stuck in there. On the original setup, the perches were not like this. They weren't drilled all the way through. It was just on the frame. So this just was in there and rattled away and clearly broke off the other one over the years. And this hole's been made bigger too. need to get this together temporarily so that we can move it in the driveway and get this purchase on. We just didn't order top plates for some reason. We've had all this hardware sitting around for like a year, 2 years, and it must have slipped our minds. Probably got confused because we had these spring purchase sitting in the same box as the plates for the front axle. Because the front axle, we didn't have to remove the purchase because they were already the same distance apart as the original IH axle. The rear was not, so we had to move them because this frame is exactly parallel of itself, and the truck this came off of, the frame is must divot or they mount in a different spot or whatever. Because these axles are from a 78 3/4 ton Chevy K20, and that truck doesn't exist anymore. It was parted. We're gonna have to replace everything in here eventually too. Brake job, replace the wheel studs, replace the nuts, everything. I'm sure you'll see that in a future video someday. We got parts that I've had for 2 years in the garage right now too, brakes and all that good stuff, in boxes. But we just forgot that. Alright guys, so I am out here alone today, and it is on Friday, and we are going to be welding on my spring purchase. I might just tack them on, but odds are I'll probably just weld them all the way on there. You won't be able to see me welding though because Dad's at work and Addie, the camera girl, is in school right now. So we're gonna be welding on these spring perches right here, getting those all together and well done. So I'll probably come back after I've tacked those on and welded them up, and then I'm gonna paint them. And we also got new plates because, like I said beforehand, those had the notches cut into them that we did, and they weren't permanent. We just needed to be able to put the axle back down and get the angle right. But we got these. My dad also ordered a couple of them for his truck because his are pretty flimsy from the factory. So they weren't like mine, they were completely different, but the plates should work the same. He'll have to modify his a bit, but I'm sure we'll see that eventually too. I'm gonna weld these on and then paint them and get going. Okay, so I've got everything pulled off now, all of the U-bolts and the old plate that was here, and these are tacked down well enough so they won't move. And I'm gonna come back and weld them on, and then I will go ahead and paint everything. today, I believe, because I'll get this welded on, and then I'm going to have to paint everything and probably let that sit overnight just like this on the jack stands, and then maybe have to assemble it tomorrow because, like I said, I got to get a couple coats of POR on everything. These are those old plates again right here that we had to cut so the old ones would fit. However, we have these new ones now that actually will work. There'll be one more U-bolt on the other side, and these will hold the axle in place. This right here was the part we were waiting on, so. Okay, so I just got the perches welded on, and I am going to be going ahead and painting everything in just a second here. This is what these look like right here. I'm gonna go ahead and paint everything and then bolt it back together. Just gonna get some POR, and I'm gonna have to wait for all that to dry. So if it's not dry by tonight, either I'll have to come back and put it all together or just put it together when it's wet, but I'll figure it out. So the other day when we took apart my axle, we realized that this little nub had fallen out of here. So I just took the welder and welded it back into place. It's probably alright. I don't know if it's in there well or not. I'm going to throw a healthy coating of POR 15 and just try to petrify it in there. I welded it and just tried my best to grind it down enough so that it'll stay in there, because this goes like this, facing down, and will go into in that middle hole there. So it could fall out eventually. Hopefully it does not. In the IH axle, there was not a gap below the perch, so it would just sit there and rattle around. Hopefully I have that secured. I'm going to paint these now, and I'm working on painting these. I only have the top right now and one layer, and I've also painted over here a little bit. I only have one layer. I'm only doing like the centers of the leaf springs right here, because the rest of them are kind of dirty, and this is where we're going to be having material meet itself, so figured it'd be best to get some paint as I go along here. Okay, it is now Saturday morning, like probably about a week after we started this video to swap my axle. I had to pause during the week because it ended up snowing one last time and raining a couple times. So yesterday we had some good weather, and today we have some good weather too. I just let these dry overnight, and they have 2 coats of paint on the top side, and I need to fill them in where they're not painted with 2 more coats. And then as soon as everything's painted, I can get it back together. The axle has actually been painted all the way though. Like everything on there has the 2 coats, and it's ready to go. So I'm gonna paint everything. Probably gotta wait several hours to get that painted. I might start working on other stuff, but I'm probably not because I'm lazy. I also replaced one floor panel, and I gotta paint that because I have 1 coat inside the floor, and underneath of it it's still bare metal, and I gotta paint the bottom side too. So probably just gonna do some painting right now and wait for those to dry and install them hopefully by tonight or tomorrow. Alright, so I got done painting everything here. It's still a little bit tacky. I got the blocks done and the leaf spring plates. We're gonna go ahead and assemble everything now. So then we can finish off this video, get this axle back on the truck, on the truck for the first time. This is the Chevy axle, and then I'll have to come back and beat all these Drake drums loose. Not in this video, but another day. Also, I put the rear chrome bumper from my Golden on this truck just because I was waiting for paint to dry all day, and it's fun. Looks better, I think, that is on.
Everything's looking good. We're having a couple weekends of good progress. Did a lot of stuff to my truck too. You'll see that in a different video. So we're gonna go ahead and put this axle back on.
Alright, well Dad's gonna cut off the tops of these U-bolts here. We have got everything mounted where they should be.
What I'll do, I'll just set the guard. I'll set the guard on the top of that, and then they'll all be the same.
Okay. So, we got everything bolted back together, and I got everything painted as well, so, in POR 15, and this ain't ever gonna rust. Original blocks, but new U-bolts, new perches, new everything. This is a 78 Chevy axle on my truck now, aluminum rims, and I also, like I said earlier, pulled the bumper off of the Golden, so
It's a little harder to push now because the drums are kind of froze on this, and we got all new parts for that too coming up.
yeah, we got all those in boxes pretty much right now. Alright, thanks everybody for watching today's episode of RPT. We swapped the rear axle on my truck, welded on new perches, painted, all new hardware. We started this video about a week ago. And same with my dad's transmission video that is also on the channel, started about a week ago. We got both recording sessions done today though, thankfully. Rear axle swap, transmission swap, both done. So now I have a 78 Chevy K20 4x4 rear axle, and next thing we're doing on my truck is getting the frame extension done, boxing plates and fish plates and mounting the cab and all that good stuff.
It went pretty fast, like 3 days to swap the axle. Don't forget we are hillbilly backyard garage door shade tree basic tools.
Well, we started
Mechanics.
a week ago, but we took like
So
we that was last weekend. And then we took the week because it was crappy weather and we didn't have the right parts to finish it.
with a little know-how and a little prep work and a little research, anybody can do the things that we do.
Yeah.
We're up here at Travelette.
Like, comment, sub, share. Bye bye. horse him. Go pick the bed, I don't care. Zoom in on it and walk by it. And then walk by it cinematically. I'm not. Sparks.
The nuts are so big that they're sloppy. It's not like a washer. A stack of washers would be better than a sloppy nut.
Don't ever say that again.
Keep that for the outtake. You know the old rule, a stack of washers is always better than a sloppy nut. I don't even know if we're allowed to say PB Blaster, you know what I mean?
No, we can say that. We're on YouTube. I don't care. The only reason we wouldn't is to
We can
tell them.
We can say like what penetrating lube we endorse.
Sure.
Why?
Because we're not TV. Because the only reason they do that on TV is because they don't want to give people free advertising because they're not getting paid. We can endorse products, but we don't get anything for it. That's why they don't do it. There's nothing illegal. They just don't want to do free advertising because they're stingy.
Well, we like PB Blaster.